What's up, guys? Smash Adams here, coming at you with a brand new deck profile, and this time it's going to be on Dinomist Dracoslayers. Now, the reason why I like this engine next to the pure build, and I'm actually in the process of actually trying out the Curry engine just to see how it goes as far as the synergy it gives off with the Curry lineup, mainly because of how well the Dracoslayers and the Dinomist go in sync together, since a majority of your plays are heavily reliant on just summoning heavy set Pendulum monsters via Spinos, Rex, and Brachion, and all those other good Dinomists that you can use in any given time. But also to get enough leverage off of spamming out whatever monsters of your choice from the extra deck via Dinomist Prominence, as you can see up front, or anything else, just to set up a good board for protection, or just postulating a good strategy just to get over your opponent and then win right off the bat. It's a flexible deck. Let me tell you guys. This was a deck that I've been trying out for a while, and with the amount of changes that I've made, it was worth it, but so far it's going out great. It's super competitive, it's a lot of fun, and I recommend that you should try it out. It's super awesome. So, I'm going to show you all the deck, explain a couple of my tech choices, and without further ado, here is Dinomist Dracoslayers. To start off, of course, we have, the 3 Spinos. You can't go wrong with running 3 Spinos. You need these, especially if you're going to be winning a bunch of your games. And plus, I believe there's a way you can use both effects at the same time, just as long as you have enough Dinomists just to tribute off of. You can use both effects in one turn. But nonetheless, Spinos, I recommend you run 3 of these. Of course, 3 Rex. I still run these because he's the second best Dinomist beater next to Spinos. And just not only because of its effect, but mainly because of the stats that he has. That way you can get over stuff, and then possibly after that go straight into Infinity afterwards, since you are going to be going into the extra deck, if not all the time, but a majority of your plays in any given game. But Rex, he can help you in the long run with just shuffling cards into your opponent's deck, and then after that, just gaining 100 off of that shuffle. But Rex, I recommend you run 3 as well as 3 Spinos. And of course, we still run 3 Ceratops. Originally, I was playtesting 2 and then running Ankylos, but unfortunately, the downside with Ankylos was that with the Draco Slayers and all, I was trying to find space for cards that made the deck run smoothly, so I figured running 3 of the beaters and 3 of the main key pieces to the Dinomist engine overall next to the Draco Slayer engine kind of made it work faster. Even though I like Ankylos because it does act as a Macros Cosmos for the Dinomist engine, I figured it was better just to add more heavy beaters and then get easy access to Pendulum skills by just running the 3s and the 6s, which in many cases never... It basically, you couldn't go wrong with running the 3s and the 6s in the Pendulum scales. And that's the other reason why I run all the beaters and spades. And of course, we run 3 Brachion. The Cyber Dragon ability is essential in this deck, and if you had a Ceratops, for example, you can do that and then spam the Ceratops, but the downside is, like Brachion, you can't control a monster of that name, so it's a downside, but hey, it's worth it. So, but hey, first turn infinities are never really a problem with this card, especially if your opponent has the high-powered attack monster, and then after that you can spam your board, go straight into Infinity, or another Infinity if you wish, and then after that set up for a really good board, and then just end them right there. And now for the rest of the Dinomist engine, we've got 3 Pteran to search out whatever you want. He's basically the Stratos of the deck. And of course, we run 3 Plesios to end the Dinomist lineup, mainly just to the ability to just shrink your opponent's monsters by 100 times the amount of Dinomist cards you have. It's amazing just to run 3 Plesios in this deck. And now for the non-Dinomist engine, we've got 1 Luster. There's a reason why this card went to 1, because this and the deck mixed really well with Dinomist Prominence. And if you got these off, hands down, you had no excuse with winning with this card in Dinomist overall if you ran this at 3. You didn't even need Draco Face-Off with this card. Next we've got 3 Master, mainly because with Luster at 1, you have to have more leverage just to spam out more stuff, and to just utilize most of the Draco Slayer abilities from the extra deck, since you do run all three of the extra deck monsters for the Draco Slayer lineup, of course. And also because its attack points are pretty good too. 1950, really good stats. And also the ability just to destroy one card in either Pendulum scale is really important too. So say if you were matching up against something that could really hurt Dinomist overall, this guy can do the trick. And also we run 2 Vector because you do run Draco Face-Off, and you do need a Dracoverlord in order to use Draco Face-Off along with a Draco Slayer. So this running of this in doubles is beneficial too. I almost thought of running 3, but I wasn't able to get one over the week, so working with 2 was it was worth it, but hey. And next we got the spells, which of course are 3 Dinomist Charge, basically your tanky for the deck, and the ability to just, like say if you were playing Ignister Prominence's effect, which of course destroys a Pendulum monster on your side, and then you can shuffle a card in your opponent's side into the deck. It not only benefits you if you were going to bounce back a Dinomist from the extra deck straight to your hand, but then after that, say if you had a Ceratops and you used that ability due to Ignister Prominence, you can summon the Ceratops back and then possibly just go straight into a rank 5 afterwards, or just beat them overall, since you have enough stats to begin with. And now for the doubles, we've run 2 MSTs. You can run Twin Twister if you want, but you don't want to dump too much stuff into the graveyard just to pop their back row. And also, with back row being a problem, running double of this was essential. I thought of running 3, but I figured adding space for some other stuff was kind of another issue that I was running into when playing this deck, so I figured running 2 was more than enough. We'll see in the future, we'll see. And next we've got, of course, the 1 Draco Face-Off, because you do need this in order to get some of your plays going with the Draco Slayer lineup. Because, like I said, you are heavily reliant on Vector and the other Draco Slayers in order to use this. That's why I run double Vector. Next we run 1 Book of Moon. It saved me a bunch of times. It's worth it. I'm shocked this card is not semi-limited, but then again, Konami has its reasons, so running 1 never really hurts. And of course, 1 Raigeki, because why not? You have the ammunition just to spam the board and then clear their field. So why not play this after you get whatever monsters you need on your board, wipe them out, and then just go for game after that. Next we got 3 Dinomist Rush. Why not? Because you do run into those occasions where you want to have stuff lying and waiting on your field. Say if you don't have a flexible hand, this can save you in many different occasions. 2 Storming Mirror Force, because in my opinion it's better than just having to worry about monsters that prevent destruction. So say if they had like Stardust Spark or Stardust Dragon or anything that negates destruction abilities, for example, they can just immediately bounce them back. It's basically a Compulsory on steroids. Next we got the Wanos, which are 1 Bottomless, 1 Solemn Warning, and 1 Tech of Compulse to round up the main deck. So that's that. Now on to the extra deck. To start off, we've got 1 Ignister Prominence. I'm mad this card is at 1, but hey, it's the best synchro if you're running Pendulums, for example. This card was good for a reason. Basically, if you got this, you had no excuse winning with this deck if you ran double of this. And the cool thing is, you can easily get out a Draco Slayer from your deck. But the downside is you can't synchro into another Draco Slayer. You have to go into a fusion or into an X Siege, which in many occasions is not really that big of a deal. speaking of which, we run one Dinoster to protect your Pendulum monsters and your Pendulum scales. His defense is pretty good. That's not the only reason why I rely on him, as well as the ability. But still, in many occasions, you are going to be summoning him in D, and then say if you have your opponent has a wide open field, you can switch it and then beat them over along with the rest of your other monsters, and then some. And then we run one tech of Barbariod. Now, a lot of people are wondering, why are you running Barbariod? It doesn't attack directly. That's true. But say if you are running Nova, for example, just to go straight into Infinity, because there are occasions where your opponent is going to try and Solemn your Cyber Dragon Nova, so that way you won't get into the Infinity. So, because keep in mind, Nova does work on Solemn Warning and Solemn Strike, and then you can get any machine-type fusion monster you want, like this one, for example. Then you can summon it straight to the field, sit on it because its attack points are really, really high, and then after that, it basically is an ancient gear, and say if you hit one of their monsters and it dies, they immediately take 1,000 points of damage, and it can attack twice too. So that's the those are the two ups to this card. And now for the Xyz lineup, we've got one Master Pendulum, the ability to just fetch out any Pendulum monster of your choice during the end phase is pretty good, as well as just basically getting rid of a unit just to special summon one Dracoslayer from your extra deck, just to go into something else after that. It's pretty good too. Downside is you can't go into another one of these, but you always have the option of going straight into a Dinoster or an Ignister Prominence if you want, since a majority of the time you are going to be relying on Luster in order to get your plays going. And then for the generics, we run one Abyss Dweller because you can easily beef it up with the amount of Dinomist and level 4s that you have, or just make it straight into just running basic level 4s. One Castel, same reason, because it's generic. And one 101 because you can easily make it as well. And there are some occasions where you are going to run it into those. Basically, in the long run, say if you run into something high powered that was already special summoned, you can get it, use it as a unit, and then just hit them afterwards. Two Hopeful Spider Sharks. It's pretty good. I'm mad this isn't a Bahamut Shark and a Totally Awesome. Otherwise, it would be really, really good, and you wouldn't have to be worried about setting up your board just for a lock. Two Nova Dragons and two Cyber Dragon Infinities, because you are going to be heavily reliant on them just to set up some really key plays and just shut them out of resources. One Volcasaurus for burn damage, and to round it all off and put it to a close, one Gaia Dragon. So, that's it for the deck, guys. Hope you all enjoyed. Please leave a like and favorite if you did. If you have any suggestions, leave them. I'm open to them. I am going to try out the Dinomist Curry engine when I get the chance, because I actually heard that's pretty great too. But until then, I'm still testing this deck out, and it's so far going out great. Anyways, hit me up in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe, and until next time, this is Smash Adams signing out.